Governor Jan Brewer joins us right now. Governor, how are you doing today?
I'm doing just fine. How are you guys doing?
Oh, tremendous. Now, Governor, what the heck are we doing here today on March 19th? Why are we voting in Arizona on this presidential preference election? Didn't you try to do something to change this?
I tell you, my memory, I remember it vividly, or not maybe so vividly, but I do remember that I wanted to move it up because I wanted Arizona to count. And, of course, I was arguing with the RNC, and they were dictating the primary schedules, and they weren't going to let me move anything, and they weren't going to move it for me. And we went back and forth, and I guess they won and I lost. But they didn't want Arizona's primary to count towards the delegate count, you know. So our political parties are really strong, and they sort of dictate what takes place on all of this kind of stuff. So we lost out, and of course now again, Arizona's votes basically won't count today. They count in our hearts, but what it does is it gives us some idea exactly how things might play out. But you know, this presidential preference difficult for people to get their hands around, because actually what they're voting for today are they're voting for the delegates to go to the convention to nominate the presidential candidates from the different parties. Mm-hmm. And that's hard to explain to people. It's hard for me to even understand. I did have the honor, though, to be able to nominate John McCain for president in 2008, and then Mitch McConnell.
Romney.
Yeah. And Romney, too. So, that was a big privilege for me and for the state of Arizona. But it is complicated. So it'll be interesting to see how it turns out. And are people going to vote enthusiastically? Are they going to vote honestly? Are they going to protest?
Yeah, Governor Brewer, what would the protest be? How would you see that playing out?
Well, I would think they would vote for somebody that's on that ballot that's probably maybe have withdrawn, or they maybe might write somebody's name in, just to show that that's how they feel. That, there's a lot of unhappiness out there in the electoral process right now. So who knows? I think they'll be much more serious later on. But right now, I think that there's a lot of angst.
Governor Jan Brewer is with us right now. And, Governor, you talked about trying to change the date years ago, but you were kind of shot down by the party.
Chris, I wasn't kind of shot down.
Well, I mean,
they dictated to you that you were being shot down.
They dictated to you what it was going to be, right? So how? But
they wouldn't listen to me.
But why? I mean, what? Can you explain to me why it works that way? It feels like the state should be able to make up their own minds in this situation. Why is that not the system? Do you understand why it is? I mean, obviously you're trying to change the system, but I don't see, other than the party's interest, I don't see how that's fair to the voter.
The parties and the big shots think they know best, and they control, and they determine and dictate to all of us, and and we're a party system basically. We know independents now, or unaffiliated, whatever you want to call them. They can make a big difference in elections now because there's so many, because they outnumber the Democrats, right, just barely below the Republicans. But the parties, they control it. They dominate it. And that's what we do. We're a two-party system.
Governor Brewer, you mentioned the protest vote. What else will you be watching for tonight after 7 o'clock when the polls close? What do you keep your eyes on out there?
The other states, how they fared, Arizona, Florida, Illinois, Kansas, Ohio tonight are all other states that are voting today, and see, how the public in general all across the country are playing out. It's interesting because it sort of goes along, the mood kind of goes from state to state relatively close. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Other than that, I'm going to sit back and eat my popcorn and listen to you guys. Tell me what's happening.
It's the smartest thing I've ever heard you say, Governor Brewer. I just think, and you've said a lot of smart things, but that is the smartest of everything right there. Just listen to Chris and Joe.
I found those really good guys.
That's right. Governor Jan Brewer is joining us right now as we talk about the presidential preference election. And as you pointed out, a number of other states also having their primary elections elsewhere. Ours is separate. We have the preference election, and then, of course, we have the primary election that goes on. Governor Brewer, we wanted to kind of talk with you. You've been outspoken about getting over the whole election lawsuit nonsense that we've seen that's kind of grabbed a lot of headlines over the last couple of years. And now I see it's back in the headlines again, that we've got the voting machines lawsuit back in the headlines. Can you, just from your perspective, have you ever seen Arizona as a place where the elections are not safe and fair? That's the words we always like to say. We want to have safe and fair elections. Have you ever seen a time that it hasn't been safe and fair?
No, I don't think anybody has actually ever seen it not be safe and fair. The people that work in the election and the laws and the procedures that we go through are very clear-cut and monitored, and there's no exception to the rule. It's monitored, and it's and operated by bipartisanship. So you've got Republicans and Democrats doing the jobs that they're trained to do, and they do it well. There's always hiccups in elections. It's a big deal because you've got a lot of moving parts that people don't quite grasp. But, equipment and people and polling places and boxes and tabulations and procedure manuals, and it just is a whole bunch of stuff that has to organize. So you're going to have hiccups. It's sort of like your microwave oven. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. but still get it done. You can still get it done, and that's what we do. And I think that now that it, they from my understanding, I don't know, but I think the Maricopa County recorder has alluded to, and the Board of Supervisors, they expended some money for more equipment so things can be done faster and upgrades and things like that. So I think results will come in better. And hopefully we won't have a lot of hiccups and mess ups. But, there's hiccups. It's a big operation. There's hiccups, but nothing to the magnitude that people want to make believe that it is. I have all the faith in the world that our elections are fair and square and well done and well ran, and the election people that work there and the volunteers are very capable and patriotic people.
Governor Brewer, thank you so much for joining us. Chris, what I heard her say right there is no widespread fraud, but some sour grapes, sure, of course. You're going to see that on both sides. But nothing that, again, would lead to any widespread fraud that could actually change the results of an election.
And you know me, I love a good analogy. And she said, it's a lot like a microwave. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know how old her microwave is, because mine usually works, but I love the analogy.
Oh, microwaves, they can always go on. Yeah. Now they got all those plastic parts. They can die all the time.
A little radiation here, a little radiation there.
Thanks for watching The Chris and Joe Show. Click to see more from Chris and Joe, and tap the button in the middle to subscribe to KTAR News.